So here we go. Welcome to the Master Teacher Tape Group Part 2, which is the Boston talks that we're listening to, that we use in this series. And that's because they are like very well filled with key aspects of awakening, of spiritual healing, of everything that you want to know to shake you up out of your human, whatever you call that. And so it's a joyous occasion to step deeply into the light and love frequency that is emitting from the mind of Master Teacher, from the open, say, resurrected mind, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And so we tap into that frequency, you can say, or you start to recognize that frequency within yourself. And that is a matter of you start to resonate with it, and it starts to work with you. And you get so-called proof of that by your experience. You start to feel glimpses, you start to feel, in this moment, a moment ago, I felt this deep, dark, heavy clouds, and suddenly there's a bright light shining right through that. And it's like it's coming from within, of course, but it's like suddenly it comes up, and it actually comes into my consciousness as a real experience, and that is totally miraculous. So this is the part which we invite ourselves to, but it's as if, in fact, the part that you're entitled to. So your entitlement has nothing to do with the entitlement that you think you have, or that you might not think you have. But this is like, no, you're entitled to miracles. So the shift into invisibility, the shift away from the bodily level is natural. It is not special in that sense. No, it's natural. And it becomes more and more familiar once you, say, come into that, once you allow yourself to release the thoughts that bind you to your horizontal view, your judgments, your concerns, your future concerns, or habits that aren't helpful, or thinking that you need to decide all kinds of things and literally don't know what to do with it. Now, all this is in fact say material that can be released. Now, I think that is the most important part of listening to Master Teacher, or looking at what he's actually sharing with you. Everything has to do with release, up to the totality of human existence in the way that you have defined it. So your release of it is not a loss at all. No, it was always in the way anyway of your, say, wholeness, of your light, the light of your being. And that's why suddenly you came to the point where you started to ask for help and see that is given in the form of Course in Miracles, in the form of a teacher that instructs, or that guides, or that is like a radiant light. In the moments that you stand still, you experience his presence. And his presence is the manifestation of your whole mind. So it is totally, say, inherent in you. It is not someone else or something else. Master Teacher is not someone else somewhere else. No, it's like the recognition of your Christ mind as a totality of what you truly are. So today we begin with you could say like a light guided meditation. I love the 60s and 70s lessons for that, because that's really the part in the Course in Miracles lessons in the workbook that you start to actively enter into light, or at least make an attempt to have light experiences. And the instructions are very loving and very inviting. So this one comes from lesson 75. Yeah, so this is a brand new lesson. You cannot have seen that before. It just came to us. So sit back and relax. While we're entering actually into your inner temple, and now face to face with the Christ. You have forgiven the world today. You can look upon it now as if you never saw it before. You do not know yet what it looks like. You merely wait to have it shown to you. While you wait, repeat several times slowly and in complete patience. And you can do that. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. The light has come. I've forgiven the world. Realize that your forgiveness entitles you to vision. Understand that the Holy Spirit never fails to give this gift of sight to the forgiving. Believe He will not fail you now. You have forgiven the world. He will be with you as you watch and wait. He will show what true vision sees. It is His will, and you have joined with Him. The light has come. I have forgiven the world. Wait patiently for Him. He will be there. The light has come. You have forgiven the world. Tell Him, you know you cannot fail because you trust in Him. Tell yourself you wait in certainty to look upon the world He promised you. From this time forth, you will see differently. Today, the light has come, and you will see the world that has been promised you since time began, and in which is the end of time ensured. Thank you for being still with me in this beautiful light that is brought to us. It's like, that's amazing. So, the thing that came up to me to share is this, is like, the title of this meeting, I gave the title, Look at Your Situation. And now if I say, look at your situation, just right after the meditation, it is like, wow, thank you. That's wonderful. I see a new world. It is given to me, like I'm accepting that. It's a brand new world I haven't seen before. It will be shown to me what everything is. So if I look at my situation, I'm in a state of salvation, of recognition, of connectedness, of absolutely amazing possibilities, gifts, treasures. Absolutely beautiful. So if you hear this with your human ears, like you did previously, which you're never going to do again, of course, like if you listen to this with your human ears, like look at your situation, it feels, what you can hear it as a threat. It's like, oh, am I missing something? And that's exactly the right trigger, in fact. It's like, are you missing something? In your humanhood, are you missing something? Oh yes, absolutely. You miss everything. You miss everything. You absolutely miss everything. So look at your situation. If you believe that you're a human being, you're missing out on everything that is real. Everything that is free. Everything that love is. Everything. Like, you miss out on all of it. You have no you have no connection with it at all. You find yourself in a place that has no existence, no real meat to it, so to speak. There's no real substance to it. That's a better word. I don't really like to use meat, but like there's no real substance to an existence. It is like uncertainty times disaster times impossibility. Well, I don't know how your maths are, but mine were pretty good. So impossibilities times total uncertainty times disaster, I know that doesn't sound good. That's like a definition of darkness. And we've been looking at that. We've been trying to get out of it, and it didn't work. And you kept trying to solve the equation, forgetting to include yourself in, really thinking that there's a world out there that does things and that you don't understand what's going on. You see that past is haunting you while it doesn't exist, and a future is scary as hell because what is going to happen in the next moment, you have no idea. So look at your situation. Like you choose. You have come to the place, and this is why you're here. It's like you have come to the place where you recognize you have a choice. You have a choice, totally. A choice that is already taken for you also. So by releasing the worldly idea of what you think is necessary to complete yourself or to look for whatever it is that you think the world is offering you, is a delay, you can say. It's like a delay to return back to exactly this point. It is like Mr. Einstein did this experiment with himself in the quantum idea, and he had like, okay, so if I go straight, he was a physics, theoretical physics is what he did. It was his niche. And he experimented with himself as a thought. Like, imagine that you go into the universe, go straight into the universe, where it's like thousands and thousands of miles, thousands and thousands of years, and suddenly you return back. But where do you return back? Exactly where you were starting. So he could imagine that, from his physics, say talent, or this absolute genius physics, he could see that if you go in a straight line in this universe, you end up in the same place where you started. So that's even in space the case. That's why I'm mentioning it. It's like in space that's even the case. Now in your social activities or in your human existence, mostly the cycles are not that long. They might be like a couple of years maximum, maybe 10 years, but that may be a little bit longer, but mostly it is a short circle that repeats itself. You find yourself exactly in the same spot again. And when you start to wake up, like you're in this transformational path, things go even quicker. So you might end up on a daily basis in the same spot where you ended the last day. Like you made a full circle already. Time to die daily and start all over again. Now we just did like a rebirth. We just did a restart by saying like, this is a brand new day. You have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea what is given to you. It's going to be shown to you. You don't know anything, so you don't have to figure out what is going to happen. But you know for sure that you don't want to project the past into the future, so that you walk along a path or a pattern that you know so well and you step into it when you're not conscious that you have a choice to be reborn, to start anew, to release the past. Okay, so this look at your situation is then the question. It's like, look at your situation. So look at the situation that you just came out of in terms of the meditation. That's a great reference. Why not start your day like that? Like right here, there's a brand new day. I have no idea what's going to happen, but past is gone. Here I am. Well, it might as well be shown to me because I have no idea how to get started here. And so that is the offering on a daily basis. Now, Master Teacher, in this part of the talk that we're going to listen to, is the third part of the third episode. The third 20 minutes of the first hour, something like that. And so there's a lot of key aspects that we're going to take a look at. There's some fundamental work that we're going to do in the preparation to listen to it, because that's still totally different, because you receive this different. A Master Teacher is not necessarily someone who speaks. So it's like, no, there's an energy provision that is bringing you in a place where you can recognize that, where it is happening in you, of course, but it's like a place where you can receive this, where you can actually receive that frequency. It's going to do something with you if you expose yourself to it, you could say. Now, that's why, and this is another essential point, is what we bring in as a whole idea is creative in itself. It is not a remark. It is not like, it is not a statement. It is not a concept. It is not just a little note or something. Like, no, what is given is actually creative information, and that embeds itself in your consciousness and resonates and in fact is integrated in it because you recognize it to be your own. So I don't want to make it too complicated to how you are going to receive this, but I'm telling you just a basic principle of what is being shared is that it's whole ideas, and that is a creative principle. It is not static. So it's not like, oh yeah, I know this already. Oh yeah, I know that concept. Like, no, this is not a concept. It is, if you hear this, you come into an experience of your connectedness. That is Master Teacher. That is the offering. You cannot hear this with your ears. Then you miss it. No, you hear this with your being. It resonates with your being. You've been literally been taken out. It's a miraculous occurrence that is being offered. Master Teacher is a miracle healer, you can say. He works with miracles just like Jesus, of course. And it is like there's a miraculous occurrence. And it takes you out of this construct that you have made for yourself. So that's why there's so much focus on the release of, it's like, don't hold on, let go, let go, let go, release, release, release. It doesn't matter how it looks. It doesn't matter what anyone would think about it. No, it's just happening to you, and it's based on release. In that, there's space for something else. Literally, you're entering into a borderland. You're entering into an experience of light and love that is way beyond time and space. Look at your situation. Now, I requested that already. Now look at your situation. I'm presenting you with an alternative that is not of the earth. Now you can choose. This is A Course in Miracles. Why? Because each time you direct yourself to the limited association, like time and space, your human existence, you can say to yourself, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And don't try and con yourself if you're getting the satisfaction of your own association. The release of that will give you the miracle, and then you move from time to eternity. Well, this is exactly what I just shared. It's like the release of the so-called satisfaction that you get from your own association in time and space. The release of that will give you the miracle. Like, are you experiencing miracles? Are you being transported from time into eternity in the experience of yourself, not as a concept? Then you're actually doing this. Then you're actually doing A Course in Miracles. The release of that will give you the miracle, and you can move from time to eternity. It is in fact that simple. But I'm teaching an impossible message here. Everyone must come to know that the world is not real. But why wouldn't that make you feel good? It does? Good. And the better it makes you feel, the less you'll participate in your own death. What does that mean, your own death? Well, see, time and space, just to freshen it up, time and space is temporal, right? It's temporal, it's time related. So there's one thing you know for sure as a human being, that time will end. At a certain point, you probably, as you see yourself as a human being, you will probably pass on. You will probably leave this plane, or however you want to call it. It's like you're going to die. That's the message of the human existence. Like, you enjoy yourself the best as you can because it's temporal. Time is up before you know it, and boom, there you go. That's your human existence. So this is why it's related to death. Like, in fact, you're continuously, in time and space, you're continuously directed towards your own death, towards your own demise, to the point where you will not be able to continue your existence. You try to avoid it, you eat well, you sleep enough, you do things to have fun, and all the things to fill your time before you're going to die. At least have a good time before that. Like, this is normal human thinking, but it has nothing to do with reality. And it has everything to do, every aspect of your dream has to do with death. Until you dream an awakening dream, you could say, where you start to apply the lessons and actually come into a different experience of yourself. Then suddenly you see that you have the provision of something that takes you out of time and space. And that is exactly A Course in Miracles. But each time you attempt to do it, Jesus says, suddenly all things around you will say, don't look up, don't leave us. We demand that you stay in this association. So you might recognize that. It's like when you start to do A Course in Miracles, when you start to intensively, so to speak, dive into your transformational path. So getting out of this. When you enter deeply into your transformative path, and you see that the so-called figures around you are starting to become kind of possessive, like, hey, are you leaving us? Why are you not playing this game with us? Why are you not participating in this dream of death? Like, what happened to you? You're talking about light and love and eternity. There's death. Like, that's one thing for sure, and let's have some fun before we die. Why are you leaving us here? Why are you not participating in this? You break the spell. And you've seen us in your transformational paths for sure too. But it's like that can become pretty intense. And that's perfectly all right. It's like you don't have to fight that. No, let's see what Master Teacher says. Don't look up, don't leave us. We demand that you stay in this association. Isn't it true? That's what's happening to all of you guys now. All of your previous frames of reference were based on death. So you have plenty of associations that are going to say, what are you doing? You're abandoning your previous dedication to death and sickness and pain and cancer. You're saying, no, I'm not going to do that. And there's a certain dedication to fear. There's a need for you to sacrifice somewhere. You feel the satisfaction of the exchange, don't you? And this is a question to be answered in honesty. It's like, are you abandoning your previous dedication to death, sickness and pain and cancer? It's like, well, say in my heart, I would love to do that. In my heart, like deep in my heart, when I'm very quiet by myself, it is the only thing I want. But when I'm out there with my family or my relationships and my this and that, I might say, no, I'm not leaving you. I'm playing the game with you, and no. You step into your lies and say there's a certain satisfaction that comes from that. Recognizing that? Probably, yeah. It's like, see, this is the part of corruption that you can say, like, here you're not completely congruent in your, or integrated in your spirituality. So you really think that there's a sacrifice connected to it, and that you're willing to make that sacrifice to yourself, not leaving the others, so to speak, but to yourself, to give up what you already know to be true. And in fact, like what Peter would do in the garden, and suddenly hearing the cock cry. So, kukeleku, here we are. Yeah, so we're just being honest here. We're just being honest in the sense of, yeah, you have to see that you're doing that, and you have a reason for that, because you love the satisfaction that comes from, in fact, staying in time and playing the game of death. There's a certain satisfaction to that still for you, otherwise you would not be in time. That's how simple that is. So that's also the fear for miracles, or something that's going to take you out of this, because yeah, that would be out of your control, right? And that might not sound that attractive at this point in which you have decided to play the game of death still. So here is a beautiful opportunity in this. It's like you're being led to the point where you actually see what you're doing and that you recognize, oh no, of course I don't want that. Like, I have forgiven the world, the light has come, is where we started with, remember? Like, look at your situation. The light has come. I've forgiven the world. This is a brand new day. It starts right here. And it has nothing to do with the past. Like the past associations, the shadow figures of your dream might scream as loud, but if you recognize them to have not any reality at all, because they're time-based images that you literally project out there to bring you back into your old idea about yourself. Like, there's nobody else out there, but you're doing that to yourself. Now, once you let that be complete and whole in you, that you see like, oh yeah, there's nothing outside of me. There's no world out there. There's nobody calling anything to me. There's nothing that I can sacrifice. Here I step into my new life, into my new freedom. That is like free of all the addiction to death and free of all the dedication to death. You like the idea that you're giving something to get something back. You can take credit then in the associations of your own mind, and you do. And that's okay, but it's pretty small. See, here you have it. See, you like the idea that you're giving something to get something back. Like, you love the little bit of sacrifice in order to get something. And you can take credit like, no, I'm still part of you. No, don't worry. No, no. Then in the association of your mind, and you do. And that's okay, but it's pretty small. If you recognize that there's a whole universe out there, a whole source of freedom, joy, happiness, expansion, then what you're trying to do in your human dream of deathness is pretty small. Key. Aha, there's a key. Well, pay attention. You can't get back more than you ask for. And if you ask to be in heaven, it is impossible that you're not there. But you've got to want it. And the only manner this can be taught is to teach you don't want this. Because there is no connection between the two. Got this? So here's a key, awakening. Yeah, awakening key. Like, this is a fundamental insight. Like, okay, if I want to wake up in heaven, I have to recognize that this isn't, that there is literally no world, that there's nothing that could tempt me to stay in time. There is nothing there. You can make it up, you can do all kinds of things with it, but it is not there. It's always past, it's always gone, it's over, it's gone. Just like you in your old association. It's over, it's gone. So that is a real key, huh? That's a real key. Look at this. Amazing. So that's given to you as a gift. Here's the key. Here's the key. And now this key stays with you. And whether you accept it or not, you have heard this. So it's like there's no escape out of it. This will come back to you, just like Einstein on this little circle through the universe comes back exactly in the same place. That's not a threat. That's not force or putting you under pressure to do this. No, it is just simply letting your intention to stay in time fall apart. Because it doesn't have reality. There's nothing lost. Nothing is going to be taken from you. You're not losing out on anything. See how fundamental this is. It's so incredibly fundamental. It's so just amazing to have it literally, served on a plate. the words we look for. It is interesting. Okay, so, oh yeah, there's no connection between the two. Between heaven and earth, as you see it, the world and heaven, there's no connection between the two. Got it? There's no connection between this association in perception and reality. None. There's no connection between this association and in perception, what you see as the world, and reality. None, except the momentary time when you release your own perceptual association. At that moment, at that holy instant, you're whole, aren't you? So in that moment, there's something happening, because you literally shift into reality. There's no such thing as a future. Everything that you can ever do, you're doing it right now. There's not a future thing that you can do. There isn't anything else. You're going to prove I'm wrong about this. How? You're going to get up and run out into the world and do all sorts of things and get cancer and die. You're going to prove I'm wrong. But you will be dead. What the hell good is that going to do to you? Yeah, I love the language. I love the uncompromising language of Master Teacher in this. It's like so clear. You're going to get up into the world and do all sorts of things and get cancer and die. And you prove that I'm wrong. But you will be dead. And it's like that's not going to be any benefit in that sense. What is that going to do for you? See, that's another big one, so to speak. There's no such thing as a future. So there's also no hope of a better future. So that's why everything that you can ever do, you're doing it right now. It's like it's all happening in this instant. There isn't anything else. And whether you believe that or not, you're probably going to prove that it's not right. That it doesn't make sense what is shared here. Well, I think it's time for some Master Teacher tape. So I'm going to share the part 3 of the first tape, and we're going to listen to that. So I'll see you right after that.
Now look at your situation. I'm presenting you with an alternative that is not of the earth. Now you can choose. This is the Course in Miracles. Why? Because each time you direct yourself to the limited association, you can say to yourself, what am I doing this? Why am I doing this? The release of that will give you the miracle, and then you can move from time to eternity. Curiously, if you will allow the Course in Miracles, or as I am directing you now, to be a product of your own mind, the solution will be very simple. Okay? It is impossible that I am telling you this without you having instructed me to tell you this. That's literally true. Are you okay with that? You can deny it, and you will give me any credence that you want, but I am teaching an impossible message here. Everyone must come to know that the world's not real. Well, why wouldn't that make you feel good? Why, good. And the better it makes you feel, the less you'll participate in your own death. But each time you attempt to do it, there's a lovely place in the Course where Jesus says, suddenly all of the things around you will say, don't look up. Don't leave us. We demand that you stay in this association. Isn't that true? That's what's happening to all you guys now. All of your previous frames of reference were based on death. So you have plenty of constitution that's going to say, what are you doing? You're abandoning your previous dedication to death and sickness and pain and cancer. You're saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, and there's a certain dedication to fear. There's a need for you to sacrifice somewhere. You feel the satisfaction of the exchange, don't you? You like the idea that you're giving something to get something back. You can take credit then in the association of your own mind, and you do. And that's okay, but it's pretty small. Key. You can't get back more than you asked for. And if you ask to be in heaven, it's impossible that you're not there. But you gotta want it. And the only manner in which can be taught is to teach you don't want this, because there is no connection between the two. Got it? There is no connection between this association and perception and reality. None. Except the momentary time when you, what? Release your own perceptual associations. At that moment, at that holy instant, you're whole, aren't you? So if we can get you starting now to relieve yourself of the necessity for preconception and really start to do the workbook, so that when you come into a situation like this, you won't immediately demand a reciprocal identity with what constitutes your reality, because you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. All you're doing is saying to me, my reality as I sit here is going to be based on the things that I brought in here from my other experience, right? And they're gone. How do you do? How can you stand that? What's lesson number 5? It says you've got a resentment about that because it's already gone and you can't go back and change it. And I'm telling you that you can change it very simply. Okay? This is what you call, see if you can hear this. One of the lessons, one of the beginning statements of what a miracle is. Here's number 13. Shows you that a miracle is the alteration of temporal order. Okay? If you come into a situation and release the past will change in the present and change the future. Can you see that? That's a miracle. Are you actually changing what happened previously? Of course. If you think it's there, why not change it? Remember that you are bringing the resentment, okay, the need to get even, what you call the balance of the perceptual mind, what you call the first covenant, an eye for an eye, the wrathfulness of the need to associate with the projection. You get to the teachings of Jesus Christ, oh, it's nothing but love. Give up and don't resist your own inclinations to defend yourself. Just let that go. All right. Then the miracle happens. And it's happening right here now, very extensively. Okay, this world is over any minute here. This was going to be gone. I didn't want to tell you that until you came in here. That's kind of scary, isn't it? Yeah. This is over. We came to tell you that this segment is over. What a terrible idea. It was just a dream. We're striking the set. It's going. Look at it. You know this is not, we know this is a dream. If you guys that are here, if you got this far, you ought to be able to really look at this. How the hell could this be real? You can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. You're a little film of a poison breather in some sort of constitution of a body. You can't go a mile down, you can't go 2 miles up outside 1,000 trillion stars that you know about. And here you sit in this little mind. Why would you want to hold on to that? Because you're afraid you'll die if you let it go. Why don't you just let it go and see what happens? Hmm? The problem can't be solved by annihilation, can it? That's terrible. The teachings of the Course are directly this. Since an idea never leaves its source, every idea that has ever been had by any perceptual mind in all of space-time is what you are. You can drag up all sorts of ones. You can reject other ones and say, that is not me. You can project them onto the other association and deny that it's you if you want to. But it is you. Not only is it you, but if you're causing pain, you're getting the pain that's happening to you. And I don't mean it's reciprocal. I mean the pain is happening to you right now. Those of you who have felt your brother's pain have become teachers of God simply because you've tried to alleviate the pain that you feel for yourself and your brothers. You've reached a point finally where you've discovered the pain is not alleviatable. At most, you can die to get out of it. Isn't that so? The healers are gone. And it's going back to them. I used to work with impaired physicians, real healers. And they have very high suicide rate because they discovered no matter what they healed, it always died. No matter what they did with it. They want to heal, they want to bring it about, but they couldn't. They always failed. That's very frustrating. Because you guys are fundamental miracle workers. You really want to heal the world. You couldn't have gotten this far. You're all saviors of the world. That's why you're here. Okay. You want the job. You wanted the job. Stay with me. It's impossible that you didn't want the job, or why are you here doing it? You really, really have in your mind that you can bring about a change in the civilization of the world that will help it. Otherwise, you couldn't be here with me. And I'm telling you, yeah, that's true. That you can do that. But it requires what? An experience of the transformation of your mind. An enlightenment, a resurrection, a forgiveness. Can it be okay now that knowledge or love or truth could be gained by an actual transformation of mind where you wouldn't be too threatened by that? That's kind of hard, isn't it? If I sit here with you, somewhere in your perceptions, you want to know how this came about. Okay? What did you do? Who are you? What's your identification? I've been doing this long. What did you do in order to bring this about? And if I tell you positively, absolutely, in the certainty of my whole mind that I had nothing to do with it, you will not let me do that. You will not let me. You will demand an association in order to either credit me with something or deny something to me. That's called an idol. You need to have an idol in your, this is all pure course now. You need to have an idol that you can share an apparent reality with and subsequently deny. Because if you made the admission just for a moment that what I'm telling you is true, you'd spring into heaven. See, your association with authority or total authority, what you call totalitarianism, is one of protective attack and defense. You see? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Crack. Absolute power is God. It has nothing to do with corruption at all. Yet you are threatened by the authority of a non-judgmental reality. You demand an association in your mind that will verify an authority that says nothing to you except you're the only living Son of God and you never left home. And you're home with God. Wake up and come on home. Why do I have to say something else to you? Okay? You're so deep in your reflected association in your own chaotic forms, what? You can't hear it. You have no frame of reference for this message. It's not light enough for you to see. It keeps running into what? Your previously constructed thought forms. Okay? Now you look through a mirror darkly. Okay? If you're looking at me, are you giving me identity, or are you evolving the miraculous capacity to release our apparent exchange of identity? Course in Miracles, isn't it? Yeah, certainly. It's not kicking the sin out there and then trying to forgive it. That's crazy. You'll never do it. You are totally justified in defending yourself if you are actually being attacked. And if you try to teach the Course that way, you're going to be here a long time. Practicing forgiveness makes absolutely no sense. You've got to start with the fundamental premise of subjective reality, that you're the cause of it. Then you can come to know there's nothing to forgive. Otherwise, there is something to forgive, and you have every right to demand it. And you do. And then, bless your hearts, you try to practice, I've got to forgive it, even though you'll never do it. You can't. It's not forgivable. You understand? It's not forgivable. If it's real, it's not forgivable, right? If God really had anything to do with this world, I don't want anything to do with him. I knew that 40 years or 50 years ago. Somebody said, well, that's God's will and he does whatever he wants to. That's crap. No, I have a right to know what my qualifications to be in heaven are. And nobody would ever tell me. See how simple this is? What are your qualifications to be with God in heaven? Answer. Anyone? None. None. You have none. No, the qualifications are none. That's not tolerable to you. Because you have qualifications in your condition of mind. Okay? In the Eastern traditions, there's a lovely guy that teaches this to the point where you can't get it. See, he's very much aware that, who is that? The sweet guy. Krishnamurti. He's undergoing all of these experiences, but he's holding on to a self-identity. Any reasonable mind can see that God is not perceptual, that he doesn't have moving parts, that you can't compare the wholeness of God with something else, that he's just singularly whole. That's not hard to do. Why would it be? See, it's an abstraction. The problem is not that. If you stay with the idea of transcendentalism, you cannot know God, but you can then go to I can be God. Okay, you have to make that step. That's what the Course in Miracles does through Christianity. It teaches existentialism. Can you get this? It teaches cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. The question is, what the hell am I and what am I thinking? The Course answers, you are nothing and you're thinking nothing. That's the first 10 lessons of the workbook. Am I getting anywhere at all? Hell, I don't know. You just keep batting your head up against it. Why? You have previous associations in your mind. They're going to protect you and guarantee your heart attack. And you feel very resentful if I tell you you can't die. And the manner in which you will prove that I am wrong is by killing me. Can you hear this? I'm teaching pure course now. Face it, you crucify the Christ each moment. Okay? If anything dies, everything dies. Can you see this? You are going to prove I'm wrong about this by saying, look at all the things dying around you. How dare you teach that when all of these lovely souls are going to have to go out and die? Somebody accused me. I'm teaching the Course. Somebody accused me saying, how dare you teach that this is the moment of salvation and we're all going to be in heaven when you know very well that they're going to have to go out and get sick and get old and die. No, you're not going to do that. No, there's no such thing as a future. Everything that you can ever do, you're doing right now. There isn't anything else. No? You're going to prove I'm wrong about this? How? You're going to get up and run out into the world and do all sorts of things and get cancer and die. But you're going to prove I'm wrong, but you'll be dead. What the hell good does that do you? When you really get into the text, when you begin to let your mind think this way, you'll be astonished how much of this is in the whole. This is nothing but the text. Life based on death is absolutely meaningless. Everybody walks around here and says, I'm not dead yet. It doesn't really make any sense. How you doing? Well, how good are you at keeping God from being totally here? You know, how much are you able to defend yourself from reality? You say, well, you're exaggerating. Wrong. I'm not. If anything, I'm trying to hold it down to give you some sort of perspective. This is not a real place. Huh? You got it? I just stopped by to tell you this is not a real place. I stopped by to tell you it's not a real place. Okay? You don't have to know what the other place is like. you can't know what the other place is like. Okay. But this place is not real, and it is at your command to change your mind about this, because this world is your mind. Now, I don't care whether you believe this, but you pick up the book and start teaching it, and it'll happen. Why? This world is your mind. And there is a God, and it is real, and there is a heaven, and you are there, and it's going on right now. But you're in this lesson 130. The two worlds do not know each other. But that does not mean that the other world is not going on now. And what you're actually experiencing are glimpses of heaven. And you're bringing your constitutional unreality with it, because it's a thought form in time that you have perfected in a whole relationship with your own mind. And you will actually set up quadrants in time of what Jesus calls a borderland, where your minds together will share this new reality that has nothing at all to do with this dimensional association in time. Can you hear me at all? This is a hologram. I'll do it that way. Okay? This is nothing but a hologram, an association of 9 dimensions. Okay, Father, Son, and Spirit, Father, Son, and Spirit, Father, Son, and Spirit. 9-dimensional association, plus the 10th dimension, which is time. All of it is going on all the time and is changing each moment. Tomorrow we'll do some quantum so you can actually get an idea that this is not solid, that there's just as much distance in your microcosm as there is in 50 million thousand light years, you see, and that they're the same thing. Okay. And then when you read the sentence, the body's not real, you are not a body, you begin to say, no, I'm not. I'm a mind. What will the body do? It'll be perfect. What is there to stop it if you were the conflict? That's how the miracle works.
Remember, you are a miracle healer. Remember these very important ideas that you have about yourself. There is no order of difficulty in miracles. One is not harder or bigger than another. They're all the same. They're all expressions of love as it is maximal. Miracles occur naturally as expressions of love. The real miracle is the love that inspires them. In this sense, everything that comes from love is a miracle, isn't it? No, miracles mean life, and God is the giver of life. And His voice will direct you very specifically. You will be told all you need to know. Prayer is the medium of miracles. It's a means of communication of the created with the Creator. Through prayer, love is received. and through miracles, love is expressed. A miracle is a service. It is the maximal service that you can render to another. It's a way of loving your neighbor as yourself. You recognize your own and your neighbor's worth simultaneously. Miracles are thoughts. Thoughts can represent the lower or body level of experience or the higher or spiritual level of experience. One makes the physical and the other creates the spiritual. Miracles transcend the body. They are sudden shifts into invisibility, away from the body's level. That is why they heal. Miracles reawaken the awareness that the spirit, not the body, is the author of truth. This is the recognition that leads to the healing power of the miracle. Listen, I inspire all miracles, which are really intercessions. They intercede for your holiness and make your perception holy. By placing you beyond the physical laws, they raise you into the sphere of celestial order. In this order, you're perfect. A miracle is a universal blessing from God through me to all my brothers. It is the privilege of the forgiven to forgive. Miracles are natural signs of forgiveness. Through miracles, you accept God's forgiveness by extending it to others. Miracles praise God through you. They praise Him by honoring His creations and affirm their perfection. They heal because they deny body identification and affirm spiritual identification. Listen, a miracle is a correction introduced into false teaching by me. It acts as a catalyst, breaking up erroneous perception and reorganizing it properly. This places you under the atonement principle where perception is healed. Until this occurs, knowledge of the divine order is impossible. Miracles honor you because you're lovable. They dispel illusions about yourself and perceive the light in you. They thus atone for your errors by freeing you from your own nightmares. By releasing your mind from the imprisonment of your illusion, they restore you to sanity. Listen, the Holy Spirit is the mechanism of miracles. He recognizes both God's creations and your illusion. He separates the true from the false by His ability to perceive totally rather than selectively. The Holy Spirit is the highest communication medium. Miracles do not involve this type of communication because they are temporary communication devices. When you return to your original form of communication with God by direct revelation, the need for miracles is over. The miracle is an expression of an inner awareness of Christ and the acceptance of His atonement. A major contribution of miracles is their strength in releasing you from your false sense of isolation, deprivation, and lack. A miracle is never lost. It may touch many people you have not even met and produce undreamed of changes in situations of which you're not even aware of. The miracle is the only device at your immediate disposal for controlling time. Only revelation transcends it, having nothing to do with time at all. Now, the miracle is a learning device that lessens the need for time because it establishes an out-of-pattern time interval, not under the usual laws of time. In this sense, it is timeless. Miracles are both beginnings and endings, and so they alter the temporal order. They are always affirmations of rebirth, which seems to go back, but really goes forward. They undo the past in the present, and thus release the future. Miracles enable you to heal the sick and raise the dead because you make sickness and death yourself and can therefore abolish both. You are a miracle, capable of creating in the likeness of your Creator. Everything else is your own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. You're a miracle. You're a miracle. You're a miracle. Yeah? Now, the activity by which we intend to heal the sick and raise the dead are being performed in the nature of producing in our mind the immediacy of an alternative which is available to us in the idea, and this is the structure of this, that the reflections of light that I'm getting in the process of being this body formulation as a teacher of the miracles. Do you hear what I said? As a teacher of the miracles, I'm whole and perfect as I was created. At that point, within the process of the idea that you are mind, okay, body, and spirit. I'm happy to see that you've decided to make application of what appears to be your body formulation in the idea that the body formulation at any single moment is actually just a passage from the idea of the concreteness of your body form. So beautifully read by my good friend Deepa, that we're going to look just for a second at how the miracle actually works. It'll take us just a minute. Because I assure you that I'm not going to be a body within the framework of what I intend to do. 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 Let's look a little bit, real quickly, at what a miracle really is then. Because there's no question that it seems to you that you're solid in your body form. Doesn't that? In other words, I'm teaching you that the elements of time that appear to be passing, okay, when I came in here and sat down, all right, are actually only going on at the moment that I sat. Now, if you look at what the reference I'm trying to teach you is, okay, you can see that the manner of the replication of my body is actually going on precisely and only at this moment. Yet I retain a body structure of myself by assuming a role of what we call solidness, okay, or wholeness, or body formulation. You listen, my entire teaching to you, the entire teaching of what we term Homo sapien, there's always a wholeness in him, in the idea that he's a body formulation. Now, in what we would call the healing of the body, I must show you that at any single moment you can assume that title. Now, listen with me. Okay. Listen about what Deepak says about that. It's been said since the beginning of time. It's been said since the idea that you have a solid body came into the idea of the consciousness of yourself. Listen with me. Listen. you have a prejudice in your mind that you are a body. And this is what you need to get over. It's the idea in favor of things that appear to be concrete or tangible and three-dimensional. We feel that a rock is real because it's solid and heavy, and our senses can easily locate it in space and time. So what are we to make of a reality where seeing isn't believing? Our senses play the same trick with reality at large in what we are. Our brains are too slow to register that every concrete object is winking in and out of existence at the quantum level, thousands of times per second. Therefore, we see solid objects where none actually exist. Can we reinvent ourselves in light of non-sensory reality? Or are we to be prisoners of the five senses, as much as our ancestors were in prehistory? Every time we repeat the word sunrise and sunset, we're indulging in a sensory deception. Here's another. Experiment is done in which a group of subjects are put in front of a tape recorder, and they're asked to write down what the voice on the tape says. The only thing that I can tell you in the certainty of you is every idea you have in your mind is a part of the condition in which you are reciting to yourself the totality of the idea. This is how you learned the Course in Miracles, that the memory of the repetition of yourself is going on simultaneously at this time in the factoring that express what you are. Now, I'm going to teach about myself for a moment, and I'm going to include someone perhaps who you know very well in the conceptual attitude of how he believes he can foster the idea of a reappearance of Jesus. It came up this morning. And the reason it came up is because you have all sorts of spiritual teachers who are offering you solutions by examining the possibility that they are body form. When they examine the possibility, I'm going to use someone who perhaps you've heard of. His name is Billy Graham. Can you recognize that face? Now, can I recognize that face? Yeah, it looks like he's gotten older than he was as I remember him 50 years ago. Now, it may appear to you that I don't appear within the idea of myself quite as old as he does. Actually, I see him as a very vital in the 1950s, as a vital mind that stood up and said, Jesus is resurrected and is whole. Now, the moment he began to teach it, Billy Graham, this is in this article, suffered from a condition of the necessity for a judgment of what was occurring in the world. This is a nice idea. This article says he's getting old and he's going to die. He's not getting old and he's not going to die. That from Jesus Christ. Yet Jesus will say to him that I went through all of the necessity for the replication of yourself. So the next thing you know, there you are with Eisenhower, or there you are with somebody you hate or somebody you love. Why? You have become judgmental. Here's the problem you have. Say to me, through the use of God.
Through the use of God.
And you struggle a great deal, as all human beings do, with the idea that God, all right, is judging you. And it's very difficult. Now, suddenly, out of nowhere, are appearing teachers of Jesus who are saying to you very emphatically that God doesn't judge. You don't like it. All of healing that occurs, you are going to have to look at in the totality of your individual responsibility as you conceive of yourself to judge. Now, the investment that I offer you that God does not judge, you immediately are rejecting. Now, what's happening here with this, our friend here, Deepak, he knows perfectly well that in his mind, in the mind training, that Jesus was resurrected. All of the articles, all of the statements of 2,000 years say that he underwent a death experience in which his body form appeared, to be laid in the grave, yet when they examined it, he was risen. He was in a different cycle of time. Now, the question that's going to arise, and why you've turned me off and rejected me, shall I teach for a minute? God's not judging you. That's beginning to happen in this world, in what we call the Course in Miracles. There was a story about Billy Graham, actually, or anyone that you would want to look at with the certainty that you're healed and whole and perfect. Yet you seem to believe that God, who is judging you, is going to distinguish between your goodness and your badness, your life and your death. That's why you need the mind training. You need to train your mind systematically to actually look at the idea of what this said. Does Jesus say it? Oh, he says it real emphatically. Well, it takes us 30 seconds to read the idea that God is not going to judge you. Now, your response already to me, come on, is you no longer want to attend my church. You don't want to attend my church because the evil guy is going to get to the heaven from hell as fast as you are. You don't like it. Don't tell me you do, because you're already defending the idea that if God doesn't judge you, why am I here at all? And I'm going to answer for you the way that finally Jesus teaches it and the way I teach it. Say to me, I'm judging myself. Of course. Now, you don't mind that in the fundamental principle that judgment is possible. But in your judgment, you continue to distinguish between in time the possibility that what is here now is remembered in your past association and projected into the future. How are you ever going to be healed? How can you be whole if you retain in your mind the idea of a body formulation? Here's listen to about 1 minute of the New Testament in which John speaks to you. Jesus answers and says to him in John 5, truly I say to you, the Son can do nothing of his own accord except what he sees the Father doing. For the things which the Father does, the same the Son does like him also. For the Father loves his Son, and he shows him everything that he does. And he will show him greater works than these, so that you may marvel at the miracle that's occurring. For just as the Father raises the dead and gives them life, even so the Son gives life to those whom he will. Now begins the struggle, for the Father does not judge any man. You've rejected it. But he has entrusted all judgment to the Son, who you will become in your own revelation, so that every man should honor the Son just as he honors the Father. And he who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Truly I say to you, he who hears my word and believes him who has sent me has everlasting life, and he does not come before the judgment, for he passes from death to life. Can you get it? This is going on right now. The time is coming, and it is now already here, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear it will live. For as the Father has life in himself, even so has he given to the Son also to have life in himself. Now, he has given him authority to exercise judgment also, for he is the Son of Man.